let's talk about why I burned down my signature offer and introducing my brand new VIP all access pass, the Coven. So let's just go into, let's talk about my signature course a little bit first. Let's talk about really where this all stemmed from, why I did this, what this looked like, what have the past couple months been looking like. It has been a lot in the back end. It's been a lot of self coaching. It has been a lot of different moving pieces and structural pieces and energetics work and connecting with the spirit of my business. I mean, this is a process that I have been in for months now, months and months and months. And it was a decision that I continue to meet with the spirit of my business, continue to listen, continue to drop in, and then also taking action, right? Like consulting, getting coached. There are so many things that I have done within this entire process that have really built out, the transition from Business Activation Academy into which is now the Coven, the expanded signature all access VIP pass for my students, which is going to be my new signature mid-ticket offer in my product suite. Okay, so really quickly, we are still in the midst of my masterclass, which is the initiation. You can register for that in the bio. We still have a couple of calls left. If you're listening to this afterwards, you can catch the replays. This is a 4-part masterclass that I am running on sales, on your messaging, on your purpose. There's so much juicy stuff inside the initiation. So even if you're listening to this after the last call, which will be July 3rd, so July 2nd and 3rd are going to be the last calls. Catch the replays. You'll still be able to register and receive those call replays. Okay. So let's talk about Business Activation Academy. If you have been a part of my world at all for the past several years, Business Activation Academy has been my signature offer. It has been my main course. It has been, at one point, it was the only way to work with me other than one-on-ones. This was before I had my mastermind. This was my main course. I birthed it August 8th of 2021. And it has served me for so long. It has been such a beautiful experience building out this community of coaches and service providers. It has been honestly such a truly amazing experience. I have served over 70 coaches. It has created over $400,000 of a revenue in my business. It has really taught me so much about expanding and evolving and growing into the leader that I desired to be, that I was still evolving into when I launched BAA, which was one of my first, if not the first big launch in my business. So it has meant so much to me. It has truly been like my baby. And it has been so, yeah, just beautiful, beautiful experience of being the leader and creator of Business Activation Academy. And in so many ways, it has served my clients, it has served my business, it has served me. And over these years of running BAA, over these years of serving my coaches, right, and my beautiful service providers, leaders who have joined the space, I have also evolved so much as a leader. I have also evolved so much as this version of myself, this death and rebirth over and over and over, right? Which I believe, if you are deeply connected to your purpose, like that's just inevitable, right? You are constantly going to be evolving. You are constantly going to be reinventing yourself, right? And I truly think that for us as spirit-led business owners, heart-centered business owners, whatever it is that you want to call yourself, this is a part of our natural evolution and growth. We are not meant to be stagnant. We are not meant to be in the same place in our businesses. We are meant to transition and pivot and evolve and grow, right? And it doesn't mean like we're always taught as a society like never give up and never quit, right? But I think there's such a beauty in evolving and allowing yourself to be honest about what you're outgrowing in your life, whether that is friendships, relationships, offers, different things, team members, right? And different processes and offers within your business as well. This is such an important integral part of becoming a leader, right? It is something that we all have to experience as business owners, as people leading powerful businesses. So I got to a point in my business where, I was beginning to outgrow not necessarily what I was teaching inside Business Activation Academy, but more so the structure that I had built for myself. So Business Activation Academy was my course. It was a open enrollment, meaning like you can jump in at any point. And there were six curriculum, what am I trying to say? Six modules inside the curriculum. And each module had its own lessons within it, right? And then I would do live coaching, and I loved what I was teaching, but I found that the structure that I essentially like built myself into this box that at one point served me really, really well. But then after a certain period of time, it was like, I need to like spread my wings in a way that I never have before. And BAA wasn't allowing me to do that, right? And I think that sometimes we can become prisoners to the rules and the guidelines that we create for our own selves, right? Nobody is forcing us to do these things. Nobody is telling us what to do. A lot of us still have that employee mindset, and it still creeps up for me from time to time as well. Right, especially as a Chinese woman, right, as a daughter of immigrants, as someone who has been silenced for so much of my life, right? And so I have to also remind myself, like, wait, I'm the one who makes the fucking rules around here. I am the one who gets to decide whatever the hell I want to do, right? And sometimes it's funny, I remind my students of that, and they're like, can I do this? Can I do that? I'm like, why are you asking me? Like, you are the CEO of your business, right? And I think that's one of the biggest things I do with my students is I'm a big fat permission slip for them, right? Whereas they don't need my permission ever, but it just feels like sometimes you want that extra like oomph, that extra like okay, is this okay? Like, can you give me like the okay, the check mark on this, right? And I feel like one of the biggest things I do for my students is like, go and fucking do the thing. Why haven't you done it already? Right. And especially because my business, my product suite is shifting into group programs, right? The Coven and Magic Mind, right? These are big group programs. Well, Magic Mind is a little bit more of like a smaller group mastermind, but nevertheless, groups, right? Where you are surrounded by people who are also doing big, brave things in their businesses and in their lives. Right. And when you are in a room with other people that are also doing big things, there is a level of, get this to stand correctly, there's a level of audacity, there is a level of delusion, there's a level of confidence that you get to tap into because you're looking around and going like, okay, this person just launched this, oh my gosh, this person just did this huge thing, this person just started their podcast, this person just had their first 10K launch, whatever it is, right? It really influences and pulls you up to become this version of yourself that is still you. You're not becoming a different version of yourself. You are becoming the most unapologetic version of yourself. You are becoming the most expanded version of yourself, right? This is your truest self. This is the person that you were meant to be all along. Right. And so after a while, I've been offering this course, offering this signature offer. And I knew it was time to expand. I'll tell you specifically what it is that I felt boxed in by. I wanted to be able to offer all of these different. I was learning. Here's the thing. I have been learning so much in my business. I can't even tell you. I can write a library of books of the things that I've learned just in this past year. And I'll be honest, I fell also into this kind of like one main signature offer thing that was happening in the industry. And, I'll be honest, I didn't really enjoy it and I did really love it for a time period. But then I also began to grow and expand. And that's the thing with rules is like, it's always going to be like, yeah, everyone should do this thing until it's like, wait, this doesn't serve me. Why am I doing this? Am I just doing this because other people are doing it? Right? There has to be a level of inner guidance and my inner wisdom and direction guiding me versus I think this is what I should be doing, which is kind of more so what I felt like when I first launched BAA. I was only a year into my business. It was 2021. I started in 2020. And so it was this level of like, oh, I'm expanding, I'm growing. There is more that I'm growing into, and this container can no longer hold that. I was learning so much about launching 2021 me versus me right now. That was my first launch ever when I created Business Activation Academy. And now I have launched over and over and over and over. Every 6 months, I've launched a new cohort of Magic Mind Mastermind. I have launched mini courses. I have launched BAA over and over and over. I have launched one-on-ones. I've also launched just a ton of things, right? So I've learned so much about launching that the curriculum inside this course no longer could withstand. And yes, I could redo the lessons and redo and add extra modules, but then this course would end up becoming some huge, like some like 6 month course with like 12 different modules. And I just didn't feel like that was within the essence of Business Activation Academy. And so I launched the Coven. And the Coven is a year with me. It is a transformational year. It is a VIP all access pass for the coach, the service provider, the business owner who is all in on your business. You are all in, meaning you are serious. You are like 2 feet in. You are doing what it takes and you are taking the brave action and brave moves in order to shift into this new version of yourself. That's not a completely different person. Like I mentioned, it is just a deepening of who you are. It is your truest self. It is the version of you that you're meant to be as a leader. Right. And so everyone inside the Coven is stretching into 6-figure years, multi 6-figure years. The Coven is going to be an experience where I will be able to support my spirit led coaches and leaders and healers and magicians from all different realms and everyone who's working with clients and building something, selling something, right? You are all visionaries, regardless of what exactly your specific offerings are. And it is an opportunity to receive all of the distilled information, the best of the best, juiciest methods that work, that truly work from every single thing I've learned. And every single course is like a different piece of the puzzle, right? It's like a different piece of the puzzle that comes together to support your holistic growth as a leader, right? To support who you are becoming, who you are evolving into. Because it isn't enough for me to just have one curriculum that teaches offer creation, messaging, and sales, right? Because there's also the conversation about fueling your magnetism, holding the energy during a launch, right? What to do, what to launch, how to launch, leading in and selling a high ticket mastermind versus a lower ticket offer, right? An entire conversation that we get to have around sales. Inside BAA, it's like I'm teaching offer creation and messaging and sales, and these are beautiful foundations, right? But it was also created for someone who's more so in the beginning stages of their journey. Also, when I created it, I was more so, it was 2021. It's a completely different version of me. So the Coven is for someone that is shifting into someone who already vibes with my work, like already enjoys, learning from me and recognizes and resonates with my energy, right? And you want to learn all the things from me. So the launching course, which is coming first, actually, the wealth energetics course, the course on sales, the course on messaging, the course on magnetism and your purpose, right? These are all different aspects of the puzzle that come together. I mean, this is $1 million in sales revenue, 4 years of being in business. I am distilling all of the best that I have learned, that I have tested and experimented and failed. I've had failed launches. I've had clients leaving, right? I've had like client clearings. I've experienced every single thing that you can possibly experience, right? Hate messages, things going viral, growing my platform to, over 70,000 followers, right? Over the years that I've been not just a business owner, but also a content creator and an influencer. I have so much value to share that comes through a lot in the coaching calls, right? Which is why some of the BAA students, even, they were like, yeah, I didn't like finish all the modules. I picked through the ones I wanted, and I'm really here for the coaching. I want to get coached by you, right? I want your brain inside my business. I want to plan my launches with you. I want to, build out the structure of my business with you. And that has been such a beautiful aspect of BAA that I'm bringing into the Coven is you're going to have live coaching calls, right? I'm going to be able to mentor you. I will have my eyes and ears inside your business, right? We're going to be able to workshop a lot of these things together, and you're going to get access to all of the live courses and programs that I run for an entire year. So it truly, what it is a transformational year together, right? Building a genuine long-term relationship, which these long-term mentorship relationships are truly the most expansive, like the best ones, right? You get to know each other over a period of time, right? Just like any relationship, when you get to know someone over a period of time, you are able to support them deeper. You're able to deeply know who they are. And not just that, like their patterns, right? Like when I know that I've been coaching a client for a certain amount of time, and something comes up, I'm able to catch on to him like, hey, you're doing that thing again, right? And I get to point that out with love and be like, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to plan out instead. And then watch you expand and grow in a way that is beyond what you can even see as possible, right? So it's been so beautiful to be able to watch all of my BAA students expand. Like one of my BAA students just signed a pay in full client, almost 4 figures in sales. And she had just, quit her job as well. I have another BAA student who was on my podcast, and she had hit a 50K month, which was amazing. So many people have quit their day jobs last year to go all in on their business. Like BAA is also included inside the Coven. So this is my signature foundational course that I have been selling and teaching for 3 years now, right? Which is almost the majority of my business. And now with the Coven, with this VIP all access pass, I get to teach not just, the sales, but all the things that I've learned from all the years that I've been in business on sales, right? Messaging, the methods on messaging and showing up to convert your clients even without sales calls, right? Most of my $1 million in sales revenue has been without ads, right? Without a sales team. I've never had a sales team. I do not do sales calls, right? Even like without a sales page for a lot of my offers, showing that like you don't need all of these extra additional things that you think you need in order to sell. You can just show up and sell. You can just show up and embody your energy, talk about what it is that you have to offer, and connect with the clients who are a fuck yes with working with you, right? And the people that I attracted, it's so funny because it's like when you invest in yourself and you have that transformational experience of entering a container, looking around and seeing that everybody else is just as ambitious and just as crazy as you are in the best way, right? You feel so at home, and it gives you this permission slip. It gives you this ability and capability to show up in your business and in your life like you never have before, right? There's nothing like it. There's nothing like I've done this so many times now in my business, from my very first payment of like 4K into my first business coach to the most recent mastermind was like $24,000 for an entire year together, container, right? And there's something so beautiful and so transformative every single time. And I get excited paying my coaches. I get excited entering these containers, knowing that I am held, I am witnessed, I am seen, right? It's like taking an insurance policy out on your business, knowing no matter what happens, I have a mentor I can go to and be like, hey, here's what's going on. I need support, right? And getting that support. And not just that, having a community of people who are also chiming in and going, oh my gosh, I was just there. Here's what I did, right? Or like, yeah, I navigated that and now I'm on the other side of it. Let me carry you through to the other side of it, right? Being in a room where people are making more money than me, they are like bigger fish than I am, right? Making six-figure months and they're having like $1 million years. Those are the people I want to learn from. So same with you, regardless of where you are in your business right now, are you in a room with people who are doing better than you? Right? If you're not making the money that you desire, like, let's just be honest. Let's just be honest. If you are not making the money that you desire, if your bank account and your like Stripe is not popping off like every single week and you're not attracting soulmate clients who are like, oh my God, I just found you. I can't believe I have people who sometimes find me the day of, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, I've been looking for someone like you, or I've been manifesting someone like you. I'm so glad that I found you, right? And I'm able to, again, without sales calls, without ads, without a team, sometimes without a sales page, I am able to convert those people literally going from cold to sold. I am literally taking those people with my messaging, with my energy, with my podcast, with my content, the way that I show up. My clients are so self-led that they're leading themselves all the way to the checkout without convincing from me. Right. And that is such a powerful way of running your business because it means your energy, what you do, right? How you show up, how you carry yourself as a leader speaks volumes. And your people are so convicted, right? They are so clear on how they see their transformation with you so clearly that it's like, boom, I'm in. I'm in. Right. And it makes it so easy to make that decision. And same with me, when I've invested in my coaches and mentors, there have been so many times where I've not even had a single conversation with them before I joined the container. My first conversation with them was on the first live call or whenever I raised my hand, one of the first calls that I had with them. And that was like the first, conversation where I'm like introducing myself. Hey, like after I paid them like $25,000 in full. Right? There's something to be said about jumping in and trusting yourself and knowing that the transformation is in the transaction, even when it feels scary, even when it feels like this is activating, this is, stretching me, but it's stretching you to become the leader you desire to be. Right? If none of the risks you had to take as a business owner were risky, like actually risky or actually scary, you would not grow. You would just be the same person every day doing different things, doing new things, but it wouldn't do anything to you because you're just going through the motions. It doesn't really do anything for you. It doesn't really activate you, right? As a business owner, if you are not constantly making big, brave moves in your business, I can also tell typically, for the most part, I can typically tell where someone is in their business. I can typically see like kind of what level that you're at, right? Because the people that in the mastermind that I'm in, and also my mastermind, my own students, I see how they're showing up. I see them evaluating afterwards. I see them responding and updating, going, okay, I did this thing. It was huge. And everyone's going in like, oh my God, this is amazing. You're doing so good. Good job. Congratulations. Right. And I can see that like as a result of that, they're making money. Right. They're making money. In my previous round of the mastermind, not this one, but the one before, I had a student who 4 times her investment just 4 months into the container. The container wasn't even over. And she 4 times her investment because of the way that she was showing up, right? She was getting coached, asking questions. She was in the Slack group, right? She was implementing, she was trying this new thing. Okay, it didn't work. Okay, here's what I want to do differently. Here's Tiffany, can I get your feedback on this? Here's what I'm doing. Okay, here's what I want to do in the future. Here's the goal I wanted to hit. Here's why I think I didn't hit it, right? The way that she showed up was like mind blowing. And I have her podcast interview on my podcast. And it's no wonder she had 10K month after 10K month after 10K month because of the way that she was expanding herself, right? The round even before that, I had another student who ended one of the last months with a 20K month. Right. And just the way that she was showing up in her business and the way she was expanding herself to receive more, I can tell that she was really going for it. And some of us, this is going to be a bit of a hard truth, but loving truth. Some of us are just not putting ourselves into those big, brave moves and experiences and environments enough. Like you're just not doing it enough. And then you're wondering, like, why is my business not growing? Huh? Like, why are clients not attracted to me? And then I go to that person's page, they haven't posted in a week, right? Or the content is just super vanilla, right? And it's like, well, what do you expect, right? Or you change the link in your bio, but you don't ever talk about it. You don't show up on your stories, haven't posted in stories for like weeks, right? It's like, well, what do you expect? Right. And I say this with love because I want all of us, every single one of us, to make a shit ton of money. I want you to make more money. I want you to work with soulmate clients where every single day you wake up and you're like, this is my life. This is my actual life. Like that is what I want for my students, right? And that's going to mean sometimes I'm going to call you out. Sometimes I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes I'm going to be like, hey, you're not living up to your full potential. Like, let's go. What are we doing? Right? And that is how you show up and you go, oh, right. Yes. Okay, here's what I can do. Right. Or it's like mid launch when it's like, 2 days in or 3 days in, and maybe one or two people have bought, but then maybe it's been really quiet. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe I just shouldn't do anything anymore. Maybe I should just stop selling. Maybe I should just pull everything down. Right. Maybe I should just like not do this anymore. Right? Like we are the ones who hold the energy. We are the ones who have to learn how to hold the energy in order to create the business and the lives that we desire. And that is a big reason why I've shifted from Business Activation Academy into the Coven, is because of this exactly. The ability and the recognition that I want to be stretched to go bigger. Yes, I was also outgrowing the structure of BAA. Yes, I wanted to expand into deeper ways of serving my clients. And I wanted to build my business and expand in my business in a way that was different, in a way that was going to do something for me on a grander scale. And I just knew that where I was with that signature course, it just wasn't continuing to do that for me. And I knew that there was a way in which I can have an offer inside my product suite that would do that for me. And that is why I designed the Coven. It's why I designed it the way that I did. Right? Because I knew I don't just want one course and one curriculum. I want to have like the launching course, all the things I want to teach my students on launching in one course taught live, so that anyone who joins afterwards gets access to that launching course in their course library. And anytime ever after that you do a launch, you can walk yourself through that material again and go, oh, right, here's how I prep for it, right? Oh, well, this is how I did it differently in the past. Okay, here's how I want to do it differently in the future. Here are the phases of launching that I get to move through. And here now I can recognize how I missed some of these phases in the past. Right? Oh, I get to realize like, okay, well, I'm actually launching a let's just say a mastermind, right? So the way I launch that, it's going to be different than how I would launch this specific like mini course or this, really low ticket masterclass. Right. And here's how I do. Oh, here's the lead in process. Here's the master class. Here are the bonuses. Here's how I come to creating aligned pricing for my offer. All of that inside the course that I teach live. And not only that, on top of the live trainings, the Coven gets Coven coaching calls to then integrate, absorb this information and apply it to your business. So now what we get to do on these coaching calls after the launching course is now we get to absorb it. Now we get to actually personalize it to your next launch. We get to plan out your next launch. We get to talk about pricing. I get to coach you on, wait, I think you're playing a little small. I think we can do this. Here's how I can coach you to get to charging this amount instead, right? And actually, like, that's literally what one of my students did in Magic Mind last round. She was going to charge her course she was going to price her course at $333. This was like an entire course with modules, curriculum, coaching, everything, right? It wasn't just like a 8-week thing. If it was like a 8-week thing or like a 2-month thing, then I would have been like, sure, whatever, 333, right? But with her experience and with the level of business she was at, I was like, girl, this is not 333. This is 3333. And she was like, really? Are you sure? She had been down, like, and it's funny because no one was buying. She was like, I don't know why people aren't buying. Like, the price is so low. I priced it at 333. I don't know what's going on, right? And I look at it, I look at the material, I look at what she's offering inside the course, right? And then I coach her and I'm like, this needs to be 3333, right? This needs to be at a much higher price. But I don't think I told her it was meant to be a 3333 because I don't want to tell my students what to price things at. Pricing is so personal. You have to actually get behind it. But my coaching for her was, this is not $333. This is like 3 times that. Like, this needs to be exponentially grander. And let's talk about why you're not charging that price. And she was like, oh, I'm afraid people wouldn't buy. I'm like, well, people are not buying now. I was like, you know why? You want to know why? Because it's too low. It's too low. People don't think it's going to be any good with your expertise, with the experience that you have, right? This is my high level mastermind. She was like, oh my gosh. Upped it to 3333, sold like hotcakes, had a 13K sales month right off the bat. And she was like, Tiffany, thank you. I literally would have still been selling it at 333 if you had not done that. And I was like, yeah, that's literally what I'm here to do as a coach. And not only that, now I'm like holding her accountable because now we have this launch plan. Now we have a way of redoing the launch, right? And I even helped her navigate some of like the technical things with like the sales page, what you say to your clients, what happens behind the scenes. How do you have your team jump in and help in and delegate some of this work, right? That was the power. And then after that, she literally 4 times her investment back. And that is the power of being in a container where someone gets to reflect back to you like, hey, I think you're still playing small. Hey, I think you can be going bigger than that. Hey, here's my intuitive coaching for you. Here's what I feel like you need to hear right now. Right? And the reason I'm shifting into the Coven as well is like, we won't just be having the conversations about what's inside BAA, offer creation, messaging, sales calls, which are all really important for the foundations of business. But also, again, I created this back in 2021. And though it served my clients and served me for years and years and years and years, there is a level that I want to bring into these conversations about sales. There are these conversations from a 7-figure business standpoint, right? I hit $1 million in sales revenue earlier this year. And the way that I teach sales is different than how I taught sales in 2021. There is so much that I have to share and that I feel like is so powerful for my students to know around selling, around messaging, around launching, around the energetics, right? Sometimes you think you need a messaging method, and it has to do with your purpose and alignment to the offer. Sometimes you think it's a sales problem, and it's actually your understanding of wealth energetics and expanding your nervous system capacity to receive, right? But a lot of us are not having those conversations. A lot of coaches are just throwing out strategies, and a lot of people are just going through courses wondering, why isn't it working for me? Because the first thing I had to do as a single teen mom off of food stamps, living off of WIC, right? Not being able to put food on my table for my daughter and I, to building what is now a 7-figure business. Guess what? The first thing I had to do was expand my energetic capacity and rewrite my wealth story, or else I wouldn't be here. Not a chance in hell I would be here standing in front of all of you with a 7-figure business if I did not expand my nervous system capacity and my energetic capacity to hold, not just attract sales, because we can all do that. All the sales strategies out there, they work. They work, right? There's a reason that hustle culture and bro marketing culture and like the go, 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 all the strategies, do all the things, 50-step launch method, they do work. But at what cost? At what cost? It's not sustainable. It's definitely not joyful. It's definitely not fulfilling. It's definitely not in the highest good for yourself and your clients, especially as heart-centered entrepreneurs, right? And as women, we have been taught and conditioned and forced to sell like a man, right? And there's a different way that we get to work within our feminine energy that is attracting, that is magnetizing. There's a reason I don't do ads and sales. I do sales calls if like it feels really, really in alignment. And sometimes I'll open them just for a couple and then just close them. But that's because I get to do it for fun. I don't rely on them to sell my offers. I don't rely on ads to sell my offers, right? I know how to tap into the magnetism and the energy of my offers. And unless you are creating solid 20K, 30K, 40K, 50K months, you've got recurring clients and high ticket clients out the wazoo, then you need to join us inside the Coven. All right. You need to join us inside the Coven. This is literally what I am teaching. If you've been desiring to work with me in any capacity, if you vibe with the way that I teach and show up and you vibe with my business and my energy and the things that you've already accessed through lives, masterclasses, different events, this is like that on fucking steroids. Like this is that, but 10 times over. Right. And so the first course is going to be on launching. I'm going to do an entire course on wealth energetics and holding money, right? Holding the money, being able to actually receive money into your body energetically through the practices that I do. Most of my launch this week in launching the Coven has been energetic practices, expanding my nervous system, lots of self-coaching and getting coached. And then the rest of it is like things that I've kind of planned ahead of time. And then intuitively, like I didn't plan to go on live and record this podcast today. But it just felt good to because I have this energy, right? And the reason why I have this energy is because in the back end, I am doing so many things to keep my energy up. During a launch, that is one of the biggest things you need to do. Because then what happens is then I see students who are like, oh my gosh, my launch is not going the way I planned. What do I do? It's failing. And I'm like, okay, what have you tried? Have you gone on live? Have you served your students? Have you self-coached yourself? Have you been journaling on it? Have you been keeping your energy management up? And they're like, no, I haven't done any of those things. And then it's like 2 days into the launch and they're like, okay, well, I'm done with that. Right? It's a no wonder so many of us are stagnant in our businesses and stuck at the same level for months and months and months. Because we don't know the right energetic management. We don't know how to understand wealth energetics. We don't know how to not just attract, but receive. These are two different things in sales. And having this conversation around sales, this is literally like I say that the Coven is for coaches growing to 6 figures and multi-6 figures. But honestly, these are 7-figure practices. These are 7-figure business sales strategies and messaging methods. And honestly, if you implement them earlier in your business, the better, the quicker you're going to expand and grow, right? Because time collapses. And there's no such thing as like, well, you need to learn this kind of method first, and then you can learn that, and then you can learn that, and then maybe a couple years into your business that no, if I knew this years ago, I would have hit $1 million in half the time. Half the time. So the Coven, see it as like a vault of my secrets to scaling a 7-figure business. Every single course that I launch is going to be a different puzzle piece that comes together to help you build your 7-figure business. All right. So yes, it's sales, it's messaging, it's building a team, right? Expanding your business structurally. It's also conversations around money and investing and having separate bank accounts, taxes, right? The things that we don't necessarily always want to know, but we need to know to run a business, right? Or else we're just playing business, right? We're just playing business. So every single thing that I teach inside the Coven is going to be for the person who sees themselves as a leader, right? And again, I don't do sales calls. I am not convincing anyone to join this program. You need to feel a full fuck yes and lead yourself through to the checkout page, right? Because that is the type of energy of the leaders that I want inside this room. Everyone's going to be masterminding together, right? It's very important that everyone who leads themselves into this room is able to support one another, have peer coaching calls, hold each other accountable, right? Be able to mastermind together. Like, this is an important integral part of my offers, is that you see yourself through to the end and you see yourself expanding into leader, identity of a leader, right? And that is something that is going to be grown over time inside the Coven as well, right? These are literally my secrets to growing an organic 7-figure business. Okay. Sales, messaging, purpose, magnetism, nervous system work. There are lots of conversations and courses that are just one of it. It's like, here, I'm going to give you the right arm. Why haven't you built a like huge business yet? It's like, oh, well, you only have the right arm, right? It's like, you need the other arm, you need the legs, you need the torso, right? Like, you need all of it in order to build a successful business. And that's what happens, is like, we get into this place of like disempowered energy. And then we think, I need another sales course. Someone teach me about sales, right? But really, it's nervous system work. It's being deeply connected to your purpose. It's opening up a dialogue and communication with the spirit of your business and God, right? Or else we're always just capping ourselves, and then we're just investing from an energy of disempowerment, right? Like a disempowered energy of like, oh no, this other sales course is going to save me. I'm going to invest in another sales course now, right? It's like, well, are you actually integrating what you're learning? And are you actually working with the right mentor for you, right? Because all those things are extremely important, or else we're just going to be in the same place over and over and over again. And that's really like one of the biggest reasons why I created the Coven, is because I didn't want, this is not just another course. The Coven is not just another course. This is an entire year-long experience with me, a VIP all access pass that gives you access to coaching, gives you access to my entire existing library of work, including Business Activation Academy, Aligned Client Playground, Multi-Six Sales Magic, all of the courses that I've run, including all the courses I will run, right? And the first course I'm planning to launch is all around launching, right? And then we get to talk about wealth. And then we're going to talk about sales. All of these are different puzzle pieces that come together to create a holistic view of you building your business as a leader. All of this comes together to support your growth as a business owner, as a coach, as a service provider. None of this can be done without the other, right? It's like attempting to have, again, like one part of the body and not the rest of it. You don't need another sales course. Okay. This is not just another course. This is giving you the tools and the resources to expand in your business in a way where you see yourself as a leader. The difference between a leader and someone who is just kind of going with the flow, copying, pasting, right? Like, oh, let me put in my bio some words that sound really cool, that make me feel really official, but you're not actually making money in your business. Right? Like, let me change my profile picture. Let me get like super aesthetic branded content, from Canva, all of these templates, but you're not actually working with high ticket clients that are paying you consistently, recurring revenue, right? And if that is happening, then maybe you don't need this, right? But if that's not happening, why isn't it happening? Why? right? Because if you created that, if you created $0, right? Or a $0 monthly revenue, or maybe it's like, 5K, but you want it to be 15K, you are creating that. You are somehow creating that, right? So if you're creating that, how can you create a different reality? Because you know how to create your current reality, but there needs to be a level of expansion for you to step into a different reality that allows you to be that up-leveled version of yourself, which is so possible, right? It is so, so possible, but it takes coaching. It takes having to manage your brain. Do you know how many thoughts we have a day? It's like 80,000 or something fucking crazy. Most of those thoughts are really, really fucking unhelpful thoughts. Okay. So if you are living your life, if you are living your you're showing up in your business in a way where your thoughts and your brain is guiding you versus being led by your intuition versus being led by the spirit of your business, I mean, yeah, it's going to feel very disempowering. And it's also going to keep you from making empowering decisions and choices that will get you out of it if you're constantly listening to your brain. Because we live in a society that is like, this is logical. Do this thing, do that thing. This is linear. No, don't spend that on a coach. No, don't spend that much money. Don't invest in this thing, right? We are not taught to trust ourselves and invest in ourselves, which is why most people don't run successful businesses. Most people don't have a great abundant mindset, right? Most people are living their lives in fight or flight, living in the matrix, living their jobs day to day, doing the same thing over and over and over for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And you're lucky if you get to retire early and you have money in your retirement, and then you can live your life. Then at 70, you can live your life, right? But everyone who's joining the Coven, everyone who's working with me, everyone who's in my world in some way is like, fuck that shit. Fuck that. We're not doing that, right? That's not happening over here. We're creating freedom. And in order to create freedom, it takes you having to take big risks. It takes bravery. It takes action. It takes regulating, right? Because if you are taking big, brave moves and you are taking big, brave action in your business, you have to do the nervous system work times 100. There has to be a level of like, this is the bravery. Nervous system work needs to be like this, needs to be like this much bigger, right? Or else we're not going to be able to hold it. We're going to come into success and clients and money and not be able to hold it and literally fumble the bag, which is why 70% of lottery winners go bankrupt within the first couple of years. They literally can't hold the money, right? It happens all the time. Happens with pro athletes as well, especially if they didn't have money growing up and this is their first experience with money, bankrupt because of energetic minimums. They don't know about this stuff, right? And hopefully they do end up expanding into this type of work, right? Because I desire everyone to be financially literate and not just with what to do with your money in a very strategic sense, but also energetically, because that is the piece that we have been missing for so long. We live in a patriarchal, wounded, masculine society that sees action and logic and linear growth over everything else. So when we tap into our energetics and our feminine power, which is the ability to attract and magnetize and receive and listen and drop into our inner guidance, there's something really powerful here for us. Okay. So the Coven is my year-long VIP all access pass that gives you a front row live seat at all of the courses that I run for an entire year. Think about where you can be a year from now. If you decide like, okay, I'm getting myself coached, I'm getting myself in the room, I am going to be absorbing and learning and integrating the best of the best materials around launching, around messaging, around sales, around nervous system work, around magnetism in order to grow my business. This is for someone who sees their growth not just as strategies, but the whole person, which means we need to talk about purpose and alignment and sales and messaging and leadership and growing a team and where your money is going and holding it in your body and your pleasure. All of it comes together. Just one piece of it isn't enough. And what's been happening is so many coaches, so many service providers will just get another sales course, will just buy another messaging course, right? And think that's going to solve their problems when it's actually all of it coming together in a powerful way, right? That is what is the ultimate not solution. I mean, yes, right? It's like the ultimate superpower, honestly. It's like you have this and this and this and this and this, and it all comes together to literally be activated, right? It's like you can only activate this level of your growth and leadership when all of it is interconnected, because everything is interconnected. But what I think for so many of us, and myself included, for a lot, the beginning of my business is, if I just have the right strategy, if someone just tells me the right thing to do, then I will be successful. And through my years of growing, through my years of being mentored, through my years of failing over and over and over and over again, I've experienced everything in my business that you can possibly ever dream of. There are things that I have to coach myself on, and there are tears that have been shed, and there are deaths and rebirths that people probably would never understand outside of entrepreneurship, right? My own family, my own friends who aren't in business would never understand some of the things that I've experienced, and the level of fear and stress and anxiety, and how I've moved myself through that as a leader to create an even more joyful and even more sustainable business, right? It gets to be a growth opportunity every single time if you allow it. And not only that, there is a level of energetic management and identity and self-perception and confidence that you have to have, and honestly, delusion, to pick yourself back up every single time. Every single time, like, you fall, you're like, process your emotions, but then you're having to get back up again, right? That's a lot. And I honestly don't think that I would be in my business now. I would have given up a lot earlier if I didn't have amazing mentors and communities that I was plugged into to remind me why I'm doing this. For someone to be like, "Yep, I was there last month. Here's how I moved through it. Do you need extra support? Do you want to get on a call?" Right? Like, watching people who were way more successful than me and going, "Okay, I can fucking do this. I can do this." And that is honestly what has created $1 million in sales revenue. Or I would be back at, like, I don't know, $100,000 or something, right? If I didn't integrate these lessons and be and get myself in these rooms, honestly, where my family doesn't get it, my friends don't get it, right? Like, who, like, what, my daughter, like, who do I have who is going to be able to actually understand the level of growth as a leader, right? That's why mentorship is so important. That is why investing in yourself is so deeply important, right? Not just the act of the transaction, which I believe the transformation happens in the transaction, but the investment of being in a room of people sitting at the seat, right? Like, one of my students from Business Activation Academy, which now I have to get used to calling the Coven, but the Telegram group is still labeled that because I haven't switched everything over yet. I'm doing it all in July. But she was like, okay, she just signed her first pay in full client. And one of her first voice notes was like, "Thank you so much for the level." Like, everyone was like, "Congratulations. Oh my gosh, this is amazing." And she shared, she was like, "Hey, for anyone who's working through this right now, I had to keep holding the energy even when it didn't feel like it was working." And she talked a little bit about how she did that. So you're not just entering a room with people who are alongside of you. These people are willing to pour into you. Go, "Hey, I know you're working on this right now. Like, hey, you want to get on a workshopping call? You want to get on a masterminding call? You want to support each other while we're doing this? Do you want to see what I'm doing over here and see how I can support you?" Like, these women in this room blow my mind. Blow my mind, right? Because they're not just going through things on their own and learning and experimenting and failing and getting back up. They're taking all of that and pouring it into the spaces that they're in and going, "Hey, if you're struggling with this, I mean, I was there last week and here's what I did. Here's exactly what I thought. Here's the actions that I took. This and something I do inside the Coven and Magic Plan is I have my students evaluate their processes and evaluate their launches and evaluate their wins. This is something I really don't see a lot of other coaches doing, right? We'll celebrate our wins, right? And sometimes we'll even celebrate when things aren't going so well. But I haven't seen someone talk about evaluation as much as I have. I will die on this hill. I talk about evaluating all the fucking time. And anytime one of my students is going through something or celebrating something, I'm like, all right, I want to see an evaluation on it. And they're like, all right, I'm already on it. Right. Because they know. And this is what happens when you evaluate every single thing in your business. You know exactly where you are and you know exactly what created it. So you are not getting to your first 20K month and going, I don't know how I created that. Oh my gosh, it doesn't even feel like it's mine. And then you start feeling kind of guilty. And then you're kind of afraid to celebrate it because you don't really fully receive it. And you're kind of afraid of what your friends and family will think because you haven't even processed those emotions or gotten coached on it. And so then you're just kind of like, okay, right? Like, what good is it to create massive amounts of wealth if you're not actually able to hold it? A lot of us think once we get to a certain level of money making that it just like feels so good. It doesn't. It doesn't. I hit 200K and I cried. I felt guilty. I felt bad because I had no idea how to hold it. Right. I was learning to, but I definitely wasn't fully there. I definitely felt a lot of guilt, right? A lot of guilt that like my ancestors never experienced something like this, that I could have spent, I could spend this money on a whole bunch of other things. Like there's so many things that come from our lineage. And especially if your lineage includes trauma and oppression and racism and exclusion, right? Like most of my women of color clients experience, daughters of immigrants yourselves. It isn't just something that, oh, money comes in and you feel great. No, I wish it did. I wish that it did, but that's not how it works. Coming from someone who's created over $1 million in sales revenue, trust me, you have to do the work. And it sounds a little bit crazy because you're like, no, if I had that money, I would just be happy. You wouldn't. Trust me, you wouldn't, right? I was depressed and anxious, and I had all of these different mental health things. I still have them at $1 million of sales revenue, right? And if anything, it would have been so much more if I didn't know how to get coached, if I didn't know how to coach myself, if I didn't know how to regulate my nervous system. I would be sitting here freaking out because now I don't just have one client or two clients, I have hundreds of clients, right? And my mentor, right, she doesn't just have one or two or three clients. She's got hundreds of people in her membership. Almost every other day, people are asking, hey, oh, can I end this membership? Okay, payments aren't going through. Clients wanting a refund. Someone left a really, really scathing review and a hateful message. Someone's pulling you apart on their stories, right? You have to be able to hold all of that and new clients coming in. Payment just went through. Someone just signed a pay in full. You're going on vacation next week. You have to be able to hold all of that or else it would be too much, which is why a lot of business owners that I actually started with at 2020, we all kind of started our businesses together. We found each other in the online space. A lot of them don't have their businesses anymore, including some of my mentors that I learned from in the beginning of my business. They're not even in business anymore because it gets to a certain point where if you can't hold it and if you're not doing the nervous system work to expand your capacity and receive it, you're just going to want to get rid of it. You're just going to want to spend all of it, right? Which is where the conversation of investing, saving, doing so from an abundant mindset, actually learning to like accumulate the cash, right? I'm also investing now. I'm investing my money in multiple different things, multiple like portfolios. I'm learning about investing. I'm learning about stocks, right? I'm learning to have I have a retirement fund, right? I have my Roth IRA. I also have multiple different, my business has accounts. I have personal accounts. I have a travel fund. I'm going to be in Hawaii for most of July. I was able to pull, four figures into that fund where I'm able to have this money, right? Because for a lot of us, we've never had these conversations around wealth. So we just expect money to be there, right? Or maybe we expect it not to be there, But these are the things that I want to teach inside the Coven and have these conversations. And for my students inside the Coven, whatever questions they have, right, whatever it is, you get to ask me and we get to jam on it and I get to hold space for you on it and I get to coach you on it, right? Regardless what happens in your business, you have this huge launch that's coming up and maybe it doesn't go anything as planned, but then we're able to dissect it and we're able to evaluate it and we're able to go through what happened and why it didn't work. Honestly, all of my failed launches, like the reason that I'm able to have such an incredible launches, and I'm still learning. I'm still learning from my launches. I'm still learning from my experiences. But for the most part, every launch is multi 5 figures, right? This one is already 5 figures for the Coven. So, and then of course, as you grow, your prices also get to expand. So it gets easy, like you need less students to kind of fill up spots. Like for Magic Mind, I only want 10 women in the room. I'm not even actually accepting more women than that. So it also depends on the spaces and it depends on like the pricing, like your one-on-ones get to go up, right? And your like group programs get to expand and also go up. But what was I going to say? For launches, I don't remember what I was saying before, but yeah, I mean, ultimately you get to expand and you get to learn. Oh, right. That's what I was saying was like your failed launches get to, if you evaluate it correctly, right? And if you really get to the bottom of what caused it, which is hard work, right? You have to process your emotions first. You have to like, it takes a little bit. Which is why I'm so glad that I learned how to evaluate early on in my business, because I would still be doing the same failed launch over and over and over and over and over if I wasn't like, what's going on? What can I do differently? Why did this happen? What went well? What didn't go so well? What do I want to double down on? What do I want to do differently? What is happening here? What caused this? Oh, I did this. Oh, I said this. Oh, I only talked about it in this way. Oh, I had this energetic thought. One of my launches fucking flopped because I just was so in sales entitlement, which is what I've coined it afterwards. Is like I felt so fucking entitled to sales that I didn't actually go out and sell my heart out. And then I was like, oh, well, I'm never going to be fucking entitled again. And ever since then, I haven't had that issue, right? Where you just expect people to come to you after a couple of really great, successful launches. I was like, oh, I'm cool, right? And then I was like, oh, that is a glaring issue. Like that is a red flag for me that I need to change ASAP. And I did. I actually did an entire relaunch. This was for Magic Mind. I have an entire podcast episode on it, on how I turned a failing launch into a 70K launch. Anyway, that was a fucking story. So, and everyone around me in the mastermind I was in was like, holy shit, Tiffany, like that was a huge lesson. I learned something from it. So not only did I evaluate every single time for myself, I would post all my evaluations into the masterminds that I'm in. And they would be like, wow, I literally received I received 70K worth of value just from that evaluation, right? And there's something so powerful about being able to evaluate where you're at and why you're there, or else we're just in the same area and level of stagnancy in our business all the time, right? And sometimes you need a mentor to be able to come in and look at that evaluation and look at some of the things that you did, or look at your launch plan before it even happens and be like, hey, what are you thinking when you decided to do this? Or why is this here, right? Like one of my clients is going through a launch and she's offering like multiple bonuses, right? And I'm all for offering different bonuses, but it was like we had to have a conversation where I'm like, do you think that people are going to buy just for the bonuses, or do you think people are going to buy because of your incredible fucking service? Right. And then another one of my clients, she has like 2 different like one-on-one services. And I'm like, okay, we need to just combine these. And why do you think that people aren't going to pay this? Like there's so many things I get to look at and literally audit and like, okay, I saw this content and this is what I felt from your energy. How do you feel about this? Like literally the other day, I did an entire energetic brand audit for one of my students inside Magic Mind, which is my high level mastermind. Okay. We're still enrolling for spots, by the way. If you want to join us inside Magic Mind, it is an incredible community, an incredible group of women. And this is my highest level of coaching and mentorship. So if you're interested in joining Magic Mind, spots are open. Just DM me. Okay. So she was like, okay, go through my content. And I picked up the same glaring energy after every single post I saw. And I was like, is she not seeing this? And she knew I was doing the audit that week. And she had posted some new posts that same week. And it was just this energy. I'm also very intuitive. I'm also psychic, right? I've called myself a witch for years now. And she knows this, right? And so it hit me. It was like a whiff. It was like, oh my gosh. And I sent her this message. And I was like, I love you so much. Like, I love you. And I'm saying this in the most loving way possible. But I am getting this energy from your posts. Where is this coming from? What are your thoughts? Have you cleaned up your thoughts before you go to post? Have you processed your emotions before you go to post? Because it's coming off in this specific way, right? This has happened with this is not just one this is like happened with multiple different students when I go to their pages, and it's not uncommon where I go and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm picking up on, and they're going, oh my gosh, you're right. I do think that. I do feel that, but it's so normalized because it's literally like what you're posting from is this like it's like this smoke, this like dark smoke or this dark cloud. And if you just post from that energy immediately and you don't process it and you don't sit with it, right? Or you see one hate comment out of all of the amazing comments you've gotten, and then you write 6 posts to that specific person, it's like, that's not your aligned people, right? And the person she was speaking to, or the people she was speaking to with that level of energy, that isn't her aligned client. I was like, your aligned clients already know this. They're already on board. She was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I was like, who are you speaking to? Like, are you speaking to the people? Are you trying to convince and are you trying to like change the minds of people who don't understand what you do? Right? Which is, I've been there too, right? Like, everything I've done in my business has been very unconventional and non-traditional. And sometimes I will write content specifically for people where I'm like, well, now they'll really understand what it is that I do. And now it's like, but my aligned clients, not only do they get it, they're 10, that was 10 steps ago. That was 10 identities ago. You're literally repelling your most aligned clients when you speak to the people who are not in your most aligned community, right? So I'm so deeply excited. I'm so excited about how the Coven is going to come through. I mean, there's so much that I want to share within this container for a year long, right? We get mentorship together. We get to do life together. You get to access all of the courses that have created $1 million in sales revenue, right? You get to access all of my best of the best sales methods and messaging and magnetism and all of the things that create a successful business. I'm also going to be sharing more about it in my free masterclass, The Initiation, which we have 2 more calls for that on Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. And the Tuesday call is going to be all about sales energetics, all about everything that you need to know around sales, and a lot of like 3 to 5xing your current revenue in through sales. So if you haven't signed up for the free masterclass, we're doing 2 more calls left, and you can catch all the replays once you sign up as well. It'll give you access to the replay page. So that's something really, really great to binge and to get into, because I'm pouring so much in there. And I'm also answering questions about the Coven and selling the Coven inside The Initiation, my free masterclass. We also have a private Telegram group where we're all supporting and sharing with one another. And updates and things like that around the Coven and around the masterclass. So definitely join us if you haven't already. It is an incredible space, and the Coven is in early bird pricing until July 7th. So until July 7th, it is at 6,888 or $666 a month. And that's 666 for 12 months. So a 12-month time frame. And yeah, and I'm so deeply excited. This is such a beautiful experience that we get to co-create together. And anyone who joins the Coven, I mean, you are also like, I'm taking into account all of the things that my students want support on and want my expertise on, right? So inside the Coven, if you're like, I specifically want to learn how to sell on stories, right? And you tell me like, hey, these are the specific things that I have, questions about, or that I'm maybe struggling with, right? I get to create trainings, I get to create methodologies that actually support that specific topic, that specific area of growth, right? Every single thing that I'm creating is channeling through me, which means like I get to connect to the energy of all of my clients inside the container, right? So when I create something, when I create a new course, um, it's like it's like a magical experience because my clients are like, this is exactly what I needed. This is exactly what I needed to experience. This is exactly the training that I didn't even know that I needed or that I was missing from my business. Right. So there is a level of experiencing that and trusting my magic and guidance inside this experience while you're also getting coached and mentored every single step of the way. So I'm really excited about this. You can DM me if you have any questions. I'm here to talk and have a conversation about it that is non-pressury, that is just here to support your highest good, here to help you make a really empowered decision. So you can DM me at any point to talk about joining the Coven. And the links to join the Coven are going to be in the show notes, as well as in the link in my bio. You will be able to access, the Coven Kajabi checkout page. And there is also an opportunity to pay in full on that Kajabi checkout as well. So you'll be able to flip back and forth whether you want to pay in full or have the 12-month payment plan. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if there's anything that I can deeper support you on. And again, I'm so, so, so deeply excited. This is going to be a beautiful year together, and I can't wait. All right. I will catch you all soon.